Yo, what's up internet? Welcome to Matchup Analysis. I look at each position matchup and determine which side has the edge. We have the Raiders versus Cowboys this week. Both of these teams are extremely talented but have underperformed. Now, we start with the Raiders offense versus Cowboys defense, and we start with the lines. The Raiders offensive line is playing better. They're pass blocking better and have the ability to be great. They're not playing amazing like last year, but they are still doing pretty good. The Raiders offensive line has been pretty great recently, but it might be too late to matter. The Cowboys defensive line is very underrated. They have two excellent pass rushers in Lawrence and David Irving. Lawrence already has over 10 sacks and is a nightmare to match up with. I'm still giving the edge to the Raiders though. They perform more consistently as the season's gone on, while the Cowboys have been up and down. The Raiders running backs need to be involved more. The offense goes as Marshawn Lynch goes, and he is the key to the offense. Now, if only the Raiders play caller could realize that. If this group gets going, the offense is completely different. The Cowboys have Sean Lee at linebacker. The defense goes as Sean Lee goes. The defense just functions so differently when he's on the field. I'm giving the edge here to the Cowboys. We know what we're going to get with Sean Lee, while we never know what we're going to get from the Raiders running backs. In another disappointing position group, we have the Raiders wide receivers. Cooper rushed back and re-aggravated his ankle injury. They haven't performed consistently all season long anyway. Like the rest of the team, they're just dysfunctional but extremely talented. The Cowboys corners are all over the place. They have shuffled the starters all over, and none of them are consistently great. Orlando Scandrick is good, but not a game-changing corner. I'm giving the edge here to the Raiders. They have much more talent and potential, but neither group has been playing well. Next up, we have the Raiders tight ends, and they are also all over the place. Jared Cook is much more talent than production, as he has been throughout his career. He is a mismatch every time he lines up on the field, but doesn't consistently produce. Clive Walford is involved in the offense more now, and seems to be much more productive. The Cowboys have rotated their safeties, hoping to get more production. Jeff Heath and the crew rotate in and out, depending on the situation. Byron Jones is a freak athletically, and is always on the field. I'm giving the edge to the Raiders here. It's very close, and both sides have freaks. The Raiders' tight ends are just slightly deeper. For the Raiders, Derek Carr isn't the Derek Carr you think of. He's hesitant and seems afraid. More importantly, he's not taking shots down the field and consistently throws the ball short of the first down. He is struggling against pressure and doesn't trust the offensive line. Cowboys defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli is very good in my opinion. He doesn't really have the pieces for an elite defense, but still makes everything work. He and Sean Lee work really well together on the defense and gives the Cowboys the edge. And now, we move on to the Raiders defense versus Cowboys offense. The Raiders defensive line has been playing better in recent games. They constantly get pressure under the new defensive scheme. Khalil Mack is the beast though. He is a one-man wrecking crew and can single-handedly take over games. The Cowboys counter with the best offensive line in football. They were struggling with the new pieces at the beginning of the season. They still have 3 all-pro players and have so much talent to go over the top. The edge here easily goes to the Cowboys. They have 3 of the top players, while the Raiders only have Mack. For the Raiders linebackers, they're just not very good. Navarro Bowman is solid, but the talent just isn't there. They never stand out while playing and rarely have an advantage with whoever they're lined up against. The Cowboys have arguably the best running back in Ezekiel Elliott. Sadly, he's suspended and is replaced by Alfred Morris. He's a good running back and has been to a Pro Bowl. He's solid overall, and the edge goes to the Cowboys again. Best case for the linebackers is they break even, but Morris can produce. The Raiders' corners have been playing better as of late, but that's really not saying much. They miss David Emerson and aren't playing well together. They might not have the 3 worst corners in football anymore, but they're still not very good. Dak Prescott has finally fed the ball to Dez Bryant. Bryant is an excellent jump ball and contested ball catcher. Dez seems to finally be connecting with his quarterback, and the rest of the offense is evolving. The advantage here goes to the Cowboys. If Bryant gets involved early in the offense, the Raiders could be in for a long day. In another disappointing group, we have Reggie Nelson and the safeties. Carl Joseph has his moments as a safety, but Reggie Nelson is just too slow. He is a leader, but I think they need to start looking at other safeties at this point in the season. Obi Melanfu in particular needs to be on the field more to get that valuable experience. The Cowboys have the reliable Jason Witten. It still surprises me sometimes when he gets open. He's no longer the athlete he once was, but he's still very crafty and has Dak Prescott's trust. The advantage here easily goes to the Cowboys. For defensive coordinator, the Raiders finally have a competent one in John Pagano. He's mixing and disguising the defense, and the Raiders have improved drastically. He still hasn't been really tested with a good offense, but the results have been really solid so far. Young Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is finally adjusting to life without Zeke. After struggling the first few games, Dak is evolving as a passer. Granted, the games were against the Redskins and the Giants, but it's progress nonetheless. This week, he faces the Raiders defense, so he should continue his progression. The Raiders have gotten better, but it's still not good. Edge, Dak Prescott. For the coaches, I don't love Jack Del Rio as a coach. He doesn't do much beyond motivation and doesn't seem to have a good game plan. The players love him, but I doubt he can make adjustments if the game doesn't go well. He's an average coach, but hasn't gotten the most out of his players. Jason Garrett, in my mind, is about the same coaching level as Jack Del Rio. I don't watch every Cowboy game, but I always just see him clapping. He doesn't make his players better, and his team is also underperforming. I give the slight edge here to Jack Del Rio. Del Rio gets more out of his players, but neither is an exceptional coach. Overall, the edge here goes to the Cowboys. Both of these teams have underachieved after great seasons. The Cowboys can at least blame it on injuries or the suspension of Ezekiel Elliott. The Raiders have just flat underperformed with their talent. The Raiders and the Cowboys have an excellent talent level, but the Cowboys have played a little better this season.